Hey, I'm back with No Frills Hi-Fi. Today I've got the Fosi V3 mono amp. If you've been following along, I did do a review of the Fosi V3 stereo amp. So if you're not familiar with audio equipment, all that means stereo amp runs two speakers, mono amp runs one. So you just kind of have to keep that in mind. If you're looking at setting up a stereo, you obviously need two of these. There's a little bit of a difference. I'm just going to kind of look off to the side here and read my specs. I don't really get into specs a whole lot because you can look that up, but just in case you're kind of curious, like what the difference would be, this is 240 watts at 4 ohms with a 48 volt power adapter, which I've got. It can also be 100 watts with a 32, so you can save a little money. Set up as it is, this is $139.99 for one of these. The stereo is $139 and it's 600 watts. It runs two speakers and it's half the cost. So, half the cost total, I guess, if you're, buying two of these versus one of those. So I guess the question would be, why would I want a mono block? I always go for mono if I can. I just feel like you get a little bit more control over what's happening with your speakers. Typically with a mono, you're going to get a little bit more features on it, but not necessarily always. You definitely get more power, you get more clarity. I wouldn't just go compare just watts to watts. That's why I don't really give specs out usually, because they can have the exact same specs and sound totally different. So typically you get a little bit more clarity, a little bit more depth, a little bit more openness with a mono amp. That's why I typically prefer them. But who knows? This one may not be as good as the stereo one, so we'll give it a shot. I'm just doing the unboxing today, and then later on I'll do the actual review where I use it. But let's stop talking and see what's in here. And so, of course, we have our instructions, and this is the actual amp. So this is what we came here to see. One thing to note, especially if you're new at this, this does not have volume control. So if that's something that you need, you may need to get a preamp for this that has volume control, or maybe a phono preamp if you're using a turntable, if that has volume control, or the V3 stereo does have volume control. So that may be a consideration for you if you don't want to get into buying separate preamps and all that kind of stuff. And then let's see, under here, whoops, there's the whole thing out. We've got the power adapter. This is the 48 volt, so we got the right one. One thing I will say about Fosi that I don't like with a lot of these smaller ones, the power supply is going to be separate. That's how they make them so small, and that's how they give you the option to go between different power adapters. So you can save a little money and go for the 32 volt, or you can get the 48, get a little bit more power. So if they did it built in, of course, you wouldn't have that option. I do prefer to see power supplies built in, although typically on these entry-level devices, power supply can be the weak link. So it is nice that, if the power supply fails, you just buy a new one. You're not buying a whole box here. There's pros and cons either way. If they were to put this power supply in this box would be obviously that big. So, it does save space if you've got it on your desktop or something like that. That's kind of nice. But I'm just nitpicking there. One thing I can say, I didn't really like the vent holes when I saw it online. Fosi loves that orange color. I would have preferred maybe red, but I actually kind of like it. looks kind of cool. I do like that they have the the vents to keep it cool, which is nice. This just says to avoid potential damage, connect all necessary cables and devices before plugging it in. We'll take that off of there. It's good advice though. So just to take a look, I'm going to go through the back first. So we've got, of course, power right there. These go to your speakers. If I was going to change anything about this, this is actually probably what I would change. I would probably make these just a little bit bigger because it's nice to have enough grip there to really tighten down on that. But you are limited with a smaller desktop amp like this to have room for that. So again, being nitpicky. But I do like that it's versatile. You can put a bare wire through there. You can use a spade plug. You can use banana plugs. The one thing I will say, if you're using spades, if you're using like a big spade, you're probably not going to get by with that on here because they're going to touch. These are just too close together for that. But most spades, I think, would be fine. One thing I really, really, really love about this amp is it has XLR input. I just can't say enough about XLR. I really wish that Fosi made more products with XLR. It does seem like that's kind of the direction they're headed. And I like that it has the RCA too, so you can use either one. You don't have to buy, go out and buy some expensive XLR cables. Most people have RCA just laying around, so that's kind of nice that they have both. Really, really love the XLR. I really wish that they had a phono preamp and a preamp that also did XLR, but I can't see them putting that off forever now that they've got some amps that have XLR. It makes sense that they would have preamps that do. Also, it's got this little switch right there, nice and crisp. That is for gain. That is 31 decibels of gain or 25 decibels of gain. I'm probably going to just leave that in the 25 range because I'm already going to be using a phono preamp and a preamp with this. So I just don't feel like I really need it. I don't know. We'll see. I may play around with that. Then on the front, you've got these toggle switches between XLR and RCA. I'm going to keep it on RCA because the phono preamp I'll be testing it with, the preamp I'll be testing it with is RCA. And then the other side here, you have another toggle switch that is a 3-pole switch. So you've got on, auto, and off. So you can just leave it in auto. It will detect a signal coming to it when you start playing music. It'll turn it on. When you stop playing music, it has, I believe it's a 10-minute wait time before it goes to standby mode, or you can just turn it off if you're not going to use it for a while. I will say this is heavier than I imagined it being. It's not heavy, obviously, but it has some weight to it, which I really like. It feels like it's substantial. The fit and finish on it is really good. It feels like a higher end amp than I'm used to with Fosi. I feel like they really, and I don't want to say like I'm putting them down. I think it's good company. I think they make a good product. I've tried a lot of their stuff, and honestly, I've never been disappointed, but this just feels like they hired a new engineer. Like they just did this one different. And I really like it. I like the feel of this. I like the look of it. Only thing, like I said, I would really change would be those speaker terminals there. I'd probably beef those up a little bit, but I don't know how you could because there's no room. So, overall though, I think it looks really good. Got little rubber feet on there. Look forward to playing with this. I did get two, so I can run it in stereo, and I'll do a video of me hooking it up and playing with it. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and that way I get more stuff to play with and show you guys. But I appreciate it, and we'll catch you later.